told you that I would give you a little tour of the truck, my kind of house on wheels here. A very interesting experience. This is actually oh, hell. Yeah. What's up, y'all? So just before leaving Denver the first time, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but that's up on my YouTube. And I told you that I would give you a little tour of the truck, my kind of house on wheels here. So I thought I would take a minute to do that today. It is kind of a disaster, so you'll have to excuse that. So it's normally a little cleaner, but also a lot more cramped in there. But let's pop in there and check it out. Give you kind of a quick overview of what's going on here. So obviously right here on the right, you can see my bed, which usually has a sleeping bag and a comforter and pillows and stuff. I got my gym bag over here. Usually I have a little heater back here, which ended up not really working. So I actually ended up getting rid of that. Got some storage compartments here, which each bin kind of has a different function, kind of serves like a different room of a normal house. And then just some other random stuff. I've got some video gear shoved back up here. Got some clothes hanging out in the back. Up above, you can see some of my production gear. So let's hop in here and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all the stuff that's in here and how I kind of functioned on the day-to-day. Tight fit. All right, so obviously this is my bed. And underneath the bed, I've actually got a floor jack in case I need to change a spare tire or anything like that. I've got a big container of tools, so I can do some basic maintenance on the truck. So that kind of keeps the bed propped up and level. Down here is actually a little space just big enough to set my guitar case down in there. And this is one of the biggest pains in terms of living in the car and trying to be productive, is getting the case out and onto my lap and opening it and just getting the guitar out. There was just barely enough room to do that. And then you get out of the case, and then you had to push the case back down into this little slot. And I got a bunch of other stuff down under here too that I'll show you in a minute. But every time I wanted to get to some of my, workout stuff, my protein powder, some of my food, my cooking stuff, my camera, I had to get the guitar out and find someplace else in this tiny space to put it while I accessed all that other stuff. And it was just a huge pain in the butt. But like I said, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of all these storage bins. So I'm just gonna start right at the top here, and super nice. They just slide out real easily. And these first few ones are just clothes. So this one just basically has, jeans, shorts, some other random stuff, like a couple of ties. So nothing too special there. And the next one is very much the same, except this is all shirts. So this is mostly t-shirts, and then I've got a few button-ups. So once again, nothing that special in this one. And same thing with this bin down here. This was kind of a random one, so I just have some random clothes in here, kind of stuff that I threw in here last minute. And I actually, when I was finished prepping the truck just before I moved, I ended up having a whole bin that was empty, which was very surprising to me. So I just kind of put some random stuff in there. So onto some of the more functional, important stuff. Is this whole bin is full of all of my electronics. So I have things like a backup charger for my computer. I've got some random hardware for my camera gear, as well as, stuff like this is the part of the mount for my iPad, so I can mount it onto a mic stand. I've got all of my hard drives in here, my guitar cable. I have my recording mics, because I had this great big plan that I would be living in the truck and hanging out at beautiful lakes and setting up in here and actually recording music, and that just did not work. A large part of that was just because of the cold. When you're sitting in an unheated vehicle all day long, it's not super productive. And that obviously extended into recording, because how the hell do you record when your fingers are frozen? You got to set all this gear up and plug stuff in. But yeah, I got my recording interface in here. I got like a backup battery for charging phones and such. And then a couple of little random electronic stuff for repairing any electrical systems on the truck, should I need to do that. So that's that bin. And so the rest is all kind of household stuff. this bin, this is actually kind of random too, but it's got like some journals in it so I can just do some writing. It's got random like flashlights and headlamps. Apparently I have a hammock in here, a couple different books, and like some plates, random stuff. So this is totally a random bin. Right next door, this bin is my bathroom. So this is where all my hygiene stuff is. So these don't belong there. I have, you know, simple things like multivitamins, stuff for headaches. I've got some like cleanser, face cleaning stuff. I got some Band-Aids in here, detergent for doing laundry. So just all kind of crap that you have in your bathroom. Cold medication, allergy medication. Directly below that bin, and I gotta see if I can even get it out here, but this is my kitchen. So some stuff in here I didn't end up using a ton. I've got just this little bin of random utensils, coffee maker, a couple of dishes, just kind of random cooking type stuff, some matches. Looks like I have some pre-ground coffee, some Ziplocs, typical kitchen kind of stuff. Last is my pantry. So this is just another bin of things. Like I've got some soup in here. This is actually a can of chicken, which I started experimenting with because, oh, hell. Cool, easy source of protein. A bunch of chicken. I would usually just mix this in with some soup. And I'll show you how I cook that stuff in a minute. I got some bread in here, some tea. This is from when I was actually sick. So if you saw my other videos, you knew that the first thing that happened to me when I got to Nashville was I got sick. And we were getting like 17-degree nights, so I was freezing and not getting good sleep, not getting hydrated well, wasn't eating the best at the time. During this whole process, I'm relying on the gym for shower. So being sick was just really rough, especially because I'm not the type of person that normally gets sick. So that was an extra kind of kick in the shin. Being that I hadn't been sick in years, and of course I moved to Nashville and I'm living in a car and I immediately get horribly sick. So the rest of the stuff actually lives underneath this storage unit, so you can see I have like some protein down here, some carb powders, kind of stuff I use for the gym. This thing, so this is my little rice cooker, and it has been amazing. I actually got it kind of as an experiment because I very quickly realized I didn't want to have to go outside and light a camp stove to do all my cooking. My only other option was electric, but heating elements, cooking type devices, it's not easy to run them on an electrical system. It just takes a ton of power, and you need huge batteries to really handle that kind of work. Now I do have an auxiliary power system that I installed in the truck. I have a secondary battery under the hood that when the key is on, it connects and gets charged off the alternator. When the key is off, it disconnects from the truck and I can run all my gear. I can charge my laptop, I can run my cooking gear, I can run my little desk lamp I have here for light. And it, like I said, it disconnects from the rest of the truck, so I can run that down pretty far if I want to, and I know it won't ever pull from the starting battery from the truck, so I can always start the truck again and get things charged back up and be able to drive. So every time I went to the gym or went to a park to do some riding or to the lake or whatever, my house battery would get charged up. So I was wandering around Walmart for quite a while, and I ended up finding this, and it just fit under the maximum power output of the power inverter that I'm using to convert the battery's 12 volts to the 112 volt AC house type current. And so I bought this thing and I did some experiments with it, just boiling water. And so a lot of my diet was ramen and 4 to 6 eggs just kind of thrown in there. It's actually really good. Health-wise, not so great, but it got me by, at least for the time, and it got me some proteins and fats from the eggs, things like that. But this thing was amazing. I actually moved on from there, and I realized that my battery had plenty of capacity where I could run this thing long enough to cook a whole can of soup with one of those cans of chicken in it, and end up making awesome meals. So this thing was like a total lifesaver, my little rice cooker. And then I've just got my camera bag right down here, so my camera, all my lenses are in there. I've got this little multimeter wired into the power system, and I can actually just flip this thing on and look at the voltage and get kind of a rough idea of how much battery capacity I have left. So this is pretty much my life as of just before December, started December 2016. So what am I missing? Had these curtains, which is nice because I get some privacy wherever I parked. I wanted to branch out a lot, but in the end, it was tough to find places to park and stay overnight, so I ended up at a lot of random Walmarts, which is interesting in itself. But yeah, I'd park in those parking lots. Usually I'd string up some sheets here to block out the light and get some privacy. I have privacy glass, but it's still kind of weird that, you know, when you can see out so easily, you forget that people can't see in. So I put up sheets, and of course this storage unit blocked all the windows on that side. My average day, I would usually get up pretty early, and first thing I'd do is I'd normally go inside and buy some eggs. You may have noticed I have no refrigeration, so I don't have anything I have to keep cool. So the eggs, I would have to buy those every day. So I literally have to get dressed. Usually I'd climb through the front of the truck and exit that way, and go in the store, buy my eggs, come back out here with the rice cooker, cook up some eggs and some ramen, and that'll be my kind of breakfast, pre-workout. Then I'd shoot over to the gym, and pretty much every day I'd do some lifting, I'd do some cardio, and then I'd get my shower in, and you know, that's where, like I said, that's where I did all my major hygiene stuff. But that's where it got kind of weird, because as soon as I left the gym, I had to go back to the truck, and I've never had this feeling before, like I really had no place to go, almost like no place I belonged. And it got really mentally, emotionally straining to have to figure that out every day. Even when there were parks I could go to, just doing the same thing every day, knowing it's a public park and there's probably neighbors watching, wondering what the heck this truck is doing in their park every day. You know, I was doing nothing wrong, but it just felt weird, you know, not having a place. And so that's been one of the biggest things that I've been dealing with in terms of like the mental side of things. But yeah, that's what my day looked like. I'd usually go to a park, and if it was, you know, above 40 degrees or so, I'd probably be able to get my guitar out and do some singing, do some writing. I also, what was really tricky is I had to find Wi-Fi, and turns out it's not as easy out in Tennessee as it is in Colorado. So I struggle with that a lot, and you know, my work requires that. So a lot of times I'd have to go buy coffee and hang out at a coffee shop to work and upload files that I needed to deliver. And while I was there, at a lot of times I'd spend a lot of time on Craigslist and Facebook, just kind of doing some networking online and meeting other songwriters, and that would allow me to start meeting with people. So I met you know, a bunch of guitar players and drummers, and I've done some co-writing. Super cool, awesome people, great community. I got connected with an awesome songwriters meetup group and ended up at a Ugly Sweater Christmas party. Had a ton of fun there. Showed up, knew no one, but amazing hostess at the party. She opened her home up to everyone, whether she knew them or not, and so that was really cool. I'm trying to think, what else did I struggle with? There were a couple of sketch nights where I was kind of in a rougher part of town, and there was one particular Walmart that I was spending a lot of time at, which I ended up departing from and not really going back because I was talking to a cop. He actually informed me that there were no problems with what I was doing, but he was actually telling me that I was in a really rough part of town, and a couple nights ago, a whole bunch of cars in the parking lot where I was staying and sleeping were broken into, and someone had been stabbed like 50 feet away from where I was usually parking. Granted, I'll just say I have ways of protecting myself in this vehicle, but you just don't want to be exposed to that, especially when you're sleeping, you know, and you don't want to be woken up having to defend yourself. You know, if someone comes in through a window, they're within arm's reach. But yeah, so I've definitely had some interesting moments, but always a good story, I guess. You know, that's what you go through. It's all worth it. I mean, I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm glad that I didn't wait. because other than this option, it would have just been me hanging around, trying and waiting to move. This is valuable to me. I would rather have slightly less comfort, but just be there and getting into the scene and meeting people and starting to, figure things out, make my mark, and, I just wanted to be in Nashville. So anyway, I promised you guys a tour. This has been my tour. I know it was kind of all over the place. I didn't really do much planning. I just kind of jumped in here and went to it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. You can feel free to leave comments or hit me up on Facebook, Brett Westgrove Music, my Facebook page. If you send me a message there, I will almost always get back to you, and I'll try to do it as quick as possible. And if there's anything else I didn't cover, let me know. I can always shoot more video. But I guess that's pretty much it. Until next time, I hope you guys are doing fantastic, and I will talk to you later. See ya.